Hey everybody, happy Monday. It's Nancy from American Pet Professionals, and we're here with a special broadcast on a Monday of our show, Digging into the Pet Industry. So, if you are watching live here on LinkedIn, YouTube, or on Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. And if you're listening to a future podcast episode of this show, thank you for listening. So, I'm excited to introduce you to APP member Ronalyn Wentz of Pets and Profits. Hey,
Hi.
hey, Ronalyn, how are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on our show today at this special time and being here to let everybody know what you do in the pet industry and your story. So I'm excited to talk to you because you have a pretty varied background.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, low right. So here in digging into the pet industry, we dig right in. So before we talk about what you do in the pet industry, let's talk a little bit about your background because I know you have a very long career in online business management, maybe being a VA. Why don't you start when you got started with that and let us know about it?
So my original business, Clark Virtual Business Solutions, started in 10 years ago, which I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Congrats.
I know, right? And I've always been in the administrative field. Like I'm one of the few that growing up, I knew what I wanted to be. I went to school for it and stayed in the industry. So I went to school for executive secretarial science. I always knew I wanted to be in the administrative field. And up until 10 years ago, I worked a full-time job. My last full-time job, we lost a contract. I decided not to stay on with the new company and just decided to see what I could do working from home. And it was kind of before people really knew what virtual assistants were, although I had heard about them like in the early 90s when it first
Oh, wow.
started. Yeah. I always thought, oh, that'd be kind of a cool part-time job or whatever.
Yeah.
So, when I had the opportunity, I'm like, let me see if I can make some money working from home. And like I said, here I am 10 years later. I've helped over 90 entrepreneurs with different administrative things that
Wow.
they needed, all over all sorts of different industries. Um, I've won awards, which I never really thought were possible. It's just me and
Well, you know
doing
what?
doing
You're
something I
probably
love.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that. I'm going to ask you about that, but that's really incredible. It's just you, but you're doing obviously an incredible job helping 90 different businesses and pet entrepreneurs. Amazing. So, when you're doing virtual assistant and online business management, did that also include social media? Like, what were your tasks before you got into the pet industry?
Yeah. Well, when I first started my business, I actually focused on social media because
Okay.
10 years ago, businesses really didn't know what to do with social media, with
Yep.
Facebook. And during in my past work, I worked on marketing.
Okay.
And I have always been on social media for years and just really loved it. So, I took those skills and just helped other people get started. And then I realized that people really needed administrative help too.
Mhm.
So I kind of like merged them together and that people really, the administrative side grew more than the social media side. Because
Yeah.
then that's when like the social media managers came about. But I
Yeah.
think I was probably ahead of everything. So.
That's incredible. So, as you were doing all that and growing and learning, as you were saying, you got a lot of accolades and awards. Can you tell us a little bit of like some of those awards? Because I was reading and I was like, wow, we have to share this. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, the one I'm really proud about is the local chamber of commerce. My I won the Loudoun County. virtual business of the year.
Wow.
And I was just floored that I won it, especially compared to who my competitors were for that year. The previous year, and that was 2019 that I won the award. The previous year, 2018, my goal was just to be, it was my first time applying, and my goal was to be a finalist, and I got to be a finalist that year. So the next year I'm like, oh, I'll try it again if you see what happens. And
Yeah,
that night was just amazing that I won the finalist, or the winner. So
that's
uh,
amazing. Well,
yeah,
congratulations on that.
thank you. So yeah, I'm still big. I'm still um, big within the chamber. Working with the chamber, and that I really believe in and helping locally. So
Yeah, yeah, that's such a great thing. And a lot of people don't think about chambers when they are in business. I'm like, did you join your local chamber of commerce? Like, become a member of American Pet Professionals. But if you're local, you need to be, if you have a local store or business, you really need to be involved in that. So they do a great job of the one that I'm involved with locally too. So that's
yep,
pretty cool.
yep.
Okay, so let me ask you, all right, so you're doing this for like 10 years, and then you like decided let's transition into the pet industry and working with pet companies with pets and profits. How did that happen?
I've been thinking about this for a while, probably like the last year or so. We've had, I've gotten really involved with, I've always been involved with pet rescues, and we've always rescued our animals. I've been involved with the local shelter, the county shelter, for since they first started their volunteer program, which was like
Okay.
2000. Like
Oh, wow.
2000, I was like one of their first volunteers and did different things within, on and off for those years, but ended up, really realizing that I love dealing with animals. And I thought, there's got to be, well, I knew I worked with, we've taken our dogs to dog trainers. And
Okay.
then I've met with the networking with the local chamber, I met other businesses that were pet related.
Right.
And so and I started working with animal communicator, was one of my first clients in the pet industry.
Okay.
Just I really enjoyed working with her. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see what is out there for the pet industry, and just kind of did some research and found out that there weren't that many online business managers for the pet industry.
Yeah.
So, I had thought about the name Pets and Profits, and it just really resonated with me. And here I am. I did the DBA in March and joined the APP, the American Pet
Yeah.
Professionals, and here I am. So yeah,
Yay. And by the way, Pets and Profit is the perfect name because that's all we talk about in the pet. Not all we talk about, but it's a lot of the business stuff that you see in the headlines, right? The pet
yeah,
profit,
yeah.
profitable
Because
pet
that's what it's
industry.
all about. When you have a business, you're trying to make a profit,
Yeah.
and
And giving, we love that you've been giving back for 23 years working with the animal rescue. That's incredible. So, now that you had this, Pets and Profit and you're working with more and more pet businesses, tell me a little bit about what services that you would offer the busy pet professional.
so I mean, just like any entrepreneur, um, you get into a business because you enjoy what you're doing, but then you
Yeah.
kind of forget about all the back end stuff that you hate doing. And that's where I come in. I help you with the back end of your business, whether it's setting up processes, setting up procedures, getting the right systems in place so you can really step out of the day to day and really concentrate what you enjoy, why you really started your business, and really grow your business, and maybe actually take a vacation. If we get all those systems in place and everything
Yeah.
is automated, I'm there to watch your business while you're gone on vacation,
Yeah.
and you don't even have to worry about it. So that, those are the things I love, setting up the processes and procedures for people. I love looking at the little details and make sure those are all in place. So, and just it's I'm I'm in this to help businesses succeed because when my clients succeed, I succeed.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. It's so true. And you don't think of all those nuances when you're starting a pet business or a business in general, right? Like you said, you started because you maybe love training dogs, or maybe you love being a pet sitter. You have this really great pet product, or you want to open, and then you realize, oh my gosh, there's all this other stuff that I have to do. And that pulls you away from the reason that you got into it. So I love that you offer the services that you do. What would you say is the biggest struggle when you see pet business owners, what they deal with? What's their biggest struggle?
One of the things that I've always run into is everything's in their head and
Mm,
nothing is on paper, or everything that they do is in their head. So then they can't step away. They can't step
mhm.
away from the business, or someone is dependent on them to find out what's going on. So I think, to me, that's one of the biggest things. And one of the first things is I ask them, do you have your SOPs, your standard operations procedures written down? They're like, no.
Yeah,
But that holds you back. That holds you back. You can't go on vacation or step away from your business if everything's dependent on you.
yeah.
So,
That's so true, and a lot of times it's the control factor, and you might not
yes.
realize it, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can do it better
Yep.
than me, or it's not gonna be done right unless
Exactly.
I do it, and then you're
Yep.
not gonna grow.
And the thing
So,
is, I understand that because I'm the same way,
yeah, I feel like a lot of pet entrepreneurs that start out are very similar to that. What do you think that they should outsource first and faster versus not?
Whatever they're not good at, they should definitely outsource. And one
Yeah.
of the biggest things I think is bookkeeping. I do
Yep.
not do bookkeeping. I did my own bookkeeping for like 9 years,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
because I knew what I was doing with bookkeeping,
Yep.
or so I thought. So I thought, because when I handed it over to my bookkeeper, they're like, "Yeah, this is not the right way to do it." So to me, that's like the first thing that definitely should be handed over to someone, is the bookkeeping, because
Yeah.
you just don't know the ins and outs like of actual, someone that was trained to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yep.
or at the very least, if you're a bigger company, have a dedicated bookkeeper on your team
Yes.
because that's
Yep.
important. And make sure,
Yep.
like Oprah says, you're signing all your own checks.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
anybody pays with
But yeah,
checks anymore.
it does not mean, when you hand over your bookkeeping, it does not mean that you do not look at the numbers, because you
Right.
still are looking at the numbers. You look at the details. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. That's a really good point. And that's something that I love that you said, something that you're not good at or that you don't like doing, right? You might be
Yeah.
good at it, but maybe it's just not what you want to do. And there's somebody else that can do that for you. That's so important. Okay, so now that you have a couple years in the experience working with pet businesses and, many years working with all kinds of or all kinds of entrepreneurs, are you planning on just being full-time for the pet industry? Is that your goal?
Yeah, that's my goal. Eventually, I would like to
Yay.
just work on in the pet industry. I keep on telling my current clients, it doesn't mean I'm going to leave you. I'm not leaving you. Don't,
Yeah.
I told them, this is
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
new, I'm going towards the pet industry, but I'm not leaving you.
Yeah.
We'll get you all set up, and,
Yeah, yeah.
but new clients, yes, definitely want them to be in the pet industry.
And since you're a somebody that people outsource to, do you also outsource? Do you have a team of people that work with you to help offset your workload?
I do. I do. I have two virtual assistants that help me. Then I have someone that is a specialist in Wix for website.
Okay.
And because of all the networking I've done in the past, I have connections. So
Yeah.
even like my bookkeeper, I met her networking.
Mhm.
And and even she's not the only bookkeeper I know. So I have
Right.
like this whole resource of a whole network of people that
Yeah.
if I can't do it, or I'll find someone who can. So
That's great. That's great. Yeah, because you can't take on all the workload and then not outsource yourself. So it's important to have
exactly.
people to help you as well. That's
Yeah.
great. So, do you work with a specific kind of pet business? So, like, is there a specialty or area that you really love working with?
Um, right now I'm still kind of working on exactly what service, but I think just like with any entrepreneur, everybody needs help on the back end.
Hmm.
So I know I right now I have a dog trainer that I work with, and then I have a animal communicator. More of the non brick and mortar people
Okay.
are
Yeah.
what I'm looking for.
Okay, that makes sense. So any kind of pet business that needs that extra support that, maybe a service orientated type of pet business. That's good to know.
Right. Yeah. But
Awesome.
even like the brick and mortar, sometimes they just need a one-time project,
Right.
whether it's helping doing their SOPs, getting those in order,
Yeah.
or employee handbook. Those are the
Right.
things that and I could help with too.
Love that. Yeah, that's great. That's great because that's kind of like a one and done. You do it and you're out.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, a lot of pet business owners wait too long to delegate. I know we talked about that. Besides bookkeeping, what would you say to calm their fears when they're thinking about delegating? Because that can be nerve wracking, like handing over part of your business that you're to somebody that you don't really know.
Right. I suggest starting with something little, whether it is, trying to think of an example. Could be someone sending out emails for you for like setting up an appointment, or um, researching something. Just something little, and just start with that one person, one project,
Yeah,
and get to know them. And that's the other thing, is really interview different people and make
yeah,
sure that you connect with them.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing. If you don't connect with them, you have to connect with them, and you have to make sure that you can tell that um, they learn very easily. They can pick it up, whatever
They can
you
pick
need
it
to.
up and perhaps maybe even help you with like these are the things that we've done with other clients, right?
Right. Right.
That's great. Yeah. I think also potentially putting them on like a trial basis, right? Maybe you
Yeah.
connected somebody, but it doesn't their workload isn't what you were hoping. Because I know that's a big fear with business owners. I'm like, just hire.
Yeah.
Because I waited too long, like a lot of business owners. I'm like, I wish I started in year one hiring people.
Yeah.
It took
Yeah.
me a while, but now that we have a small but mighty team, I couldn't do without them. So and I'm still looking to add on to that. So I think that's something that could really, I like what you said about, really interviewing them, figuring out who resonates with you. It's really great advice. So when they are doing that interview, what questions should they ask when they're hiring a potential VA or online business manager?
Ooh, trying to think what I asked.
What do they ask you,
um,
right?
yeah. um, ask them what they enjoy doing, because that's the biggest thing. You don't want to be giving them something that they don't want to do.
Right.
Um, and ask them what their experience is, what they should have some kind of portfolio, whether it's something online, or that they can email you. Um, that's just some just like a regular job interview.
Yeah. I love that what they love to do or what they're really good at and like doing. That's so important because sometimes you can have somebody that tells you they want to do all these things for you and that they've had this experience and they
Yeah.
don't. And it's
Uh-huh.
really a
Yep.
tough lesson to learn when
Yeah.
you're in the weeds trying to get everything done. So I love that, really figuring that out.
Yeah, and also where they want to go, what they want to learn, and what drew them to your job opportunity.
Those are really great questions. I love that. So, when people are reaching out to somebody and they are hiring somebody, how do you feel that business owners are when it comes to working with VAs in the terms of like micromanaging? Because I am not a micromanager. I'm like, I feel like you're an adult. Here's the task. Here's the deadline. That's not always going to happen that way, right?
Right. So with me, I don't like micromanaging at all.
Yeah.
And as an OBM, you should not be have to be micromanaged at all.
Right.
Like with a lot of my clients, they give me the idea and then I run with it.
Right.
I'll ask them questions, I'll ask them details and where they want to go, but I do all the back end, all the
Mhm.
details, and go over with them what's okay. This is what I have planned. What do you think? Is there anything I'm missing that I might be missing? More than likely not. But those are the things. I think probably the one thing that we probably should touch on are there's different levels of virtual assistants.
Yes,
And
tell us.
then so there's there are different levels of virtual assistants. The lowest level is like the doer. So you're telling them exactly what to do and they follow the steps and that's it. And then you have the next level is a tech VA or executive virtual assistant where they think more outside of the box for you.
Okay.
And like you can tell them what you want done. Um, you may know the steps or you may even know all the steps, but they do it for you. They're more efficient with it, especially like a tech VA, whether it's like doing a landing page and all the
Mm.
sales funnels and all that.
Right.
They'll do it faster than you. Believe
Yeah.
me, they'll do it faster than you. Or like the executive assistant, they'll always they know all the details. They'll make sure that all the details are included in that. And then you have the OBM, the online business manager. What I do is more of the strategy side of it and
Okay.
looking at the business as a whole and making sure that your business is running correctly so that you can make more money.
Mhm.
So,
That's great. I love that breakdown because it's important for people to realize that there are different levels of people that they want to hire and outsource work to.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be the whole entire package. Because I know as
right.
business owners, we can get stressed and be like, I just need somebody to do all of this. But you
Yes,
got to break
yeah,
it down, right? And with
yeah.
micromanaging, I meant if people are micromanaging you, like, have you dealt with business owners that are micromanaging you? Like, hey, did you get this done? Like all the time?
I have. And it's because they were burnt in the past.
Yeah.
And it took time. I mean, and totally get it.
Yes.
So it's about building that trust with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So after working with me for a while, they get it. They know
Yes.
that they can trust
They
me.
calm down a
Um,
little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And but yeah, it's it's hard. It's hard to delegate, to let someone help you with your business and
Yeah.
tell you all the details but believe me, you'll be better for it.
Yeah,
Your business will be
absolutely.
better for it.
Yeah, absolutely, and you just never know what that person you're hiring is gonna know more than you, that you're like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." I love that when somebody has a good suggestion or they're like, "Hey, you should do this." I'm, like, all about it, and then also sharing other things that you're learning as a business owner with somebody, that's working for you. I think that's important, so it'll help them grow also. Okay, so what do you love about working in the pet industry now?
I love the fact that we're all in it for the animals.
Yeah.
We all have this connection when it comes to the animals. When it was so funny when I told people, I think I'm gonna focus in on the pet industry. They're like, really? You're now just figuring that out? This doesn't surprise me. I'm like, okay, why didn't you tell me this 10 years
Yeah, yeah.
ago?
Right, right, right. That goes to the point where if you're not sure what you wanna do with your career, you should ask your friends,
Yes.
those closest to you, like, "Hey, maybe you should do pet sitting," you love doing
Yeah.
that with the dogs, it's so funny. That's
Yep.
really great, that's really great. Yeah, it is a great community of people, and I love just seeing people that connect and work with each other and help each other and build their businesses. So let me ask you one other thing about an online business manager. What does somebody like? Maybe you can elaborate something that people don't think about when they think about hiring an online business manager for their pet business.
Oh, I think online business manager is a kind of a new term anyway, so they
Yeah,
just don't know what it is.
right.
It's sort I compare it to like the office manager.
Mm-hmm.
So an office manager for your business, but
Yeah.
it's virtual.
Yeah.
So it's taking care of your office for you. All the things that you don't want to deal with or just don't have the time, that's where an OBM comes in.
And now, is that a certification process that you have to go through?
There are certifications for it.
Okay.
With my background, I have
Yeah,
not
you don't need it because you've
done
had
it.
10 years of
Yeah.
experience. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I've done an OBM course just to
Okay.
see what, to make sure that I'm up to date on things. So
That's
that's
great. So,
yeah.
what would you tell somebody that's watching that's like, "Hey, I want to do something similar, being an OBM or a VA for the pet industry." What any advice that you would give to them just getting started?
Um, Make sure that you know what your strengths are.
Mm,
When it comes to the administrative side, um, there's plenty of there's plenty of work out there, so no matter what your industry, there's plenty of need out there. So yeah, definitely, learn about the virtual assistant world and the OBM world. Um, and I'm always up for connecting too. So
that's awesome. How does somebody find a virtual assistant? I mean, I know they could come to Pets and Profit, but like just in general, how would somebody find that? Would they go to like an online VA platform?
There are several associations, virtual assistant associations
Oh,
and
okay.
OBM associations. But I think a lot of people know of Fiverr or Upwork.
Right.
Those virtual assistants are out there through that too.
Okay.
So,
I wasn't sure
yeah.
if it was delineatedly, different with different, but that's cool to know there are associations like that. So here's a question for you. What is the best piece of advice or business advice that you've received in your career?
That I've received.
Yes.
Wow. I don't know.
That always
I'm
stumps
terrible at
everybody.
thinking on my feet. So, um, yeah, um, just basically, the biggest thing that I've always I'm currently working on, I definitely need to work on is my mindset and
Mm,
just believing in myself.
mm,
And knowing that I can do more than what I think is possible.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I have a business coach, and that's one of the biggest things that I have the business coach for, and is where I need the help. So
mm. That's great. So you're working with a business coach to help your mindset. And that's something that people don't always want to talk about or, really bring to the surface. So I appreciate that because that could be a vulnerable thing. It's hard for business owners. I feel like as a business owner, we all go through imposter syndrome. Like, I don't care what level of business you're at. When you're launching something, when you're putting something out there, it's like, who's going to listen to me, right? You have to get past that mindset. So,
yeah.
I love that you said that because it's not always talked about. So, what has your business coach said to you to get there?
Oh, what hasn't she said to me?
Oh, that's funny.
So the biggest thing is I've started journaling about business,
Yeah.
and where I want the business to go, and
Mm,
really sit down and think about it.
yeah.
I don't know if it's my generation, but I've never really been good at setting goals. Like I've
Mm,
just known, okay, this is what I want to do, and I
yeah.
just do it. I don't think about the in between, and that was one of the things that I'm still growing,
Yeah.
working on, is figuring out, instead of looking at it as a whole project, looking at it as little steps.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, I think you've done a lot just even in the last since the January of 2023, right? You got your new business going, you've been working in the pet industry, you're looking so I feel like you're taking those steps there. That's really great.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, is there anything else about being an OBM or a VA for the pet industry that I did not ask you about that you'd like to add?
I think we covered everything,
Okay, great.
and the best thing is I can work wherever. Every year we go up to Canada, and I work from Canada. When a couple of
Love
years
it.
ago we went to Italy, I worked from Italy,
That's amazing. Yeah.
and the best thing is I'm here with our dogs. I'm here with our animals. A couple of times we've had foster animals
Oh,
here,
that's
and so I
awesome.
was able to foster, and because I'm home. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I love that. I love that. It's so true. People don't might not even think about that, the possibilities of you being able to work anywhere, that laptop lifestyle, as they like to say, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's crazy because no one really knew a virtual before the pandemic,
That's true.
and when it all happened, I'm like, welcome to my world.
Right.
you
Same with
know?
me, Ronalyn. That's so funny because people be like, "Oh my God, you're in New York. Are you okay?" Like, I'm like, well, I'm busier than ever, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I've been working home for 15 something years at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yep.
same thing. Same thing. It's very cool. Okay, so how can people that are watching connect with you?
Definitely with in LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, Instagram is probably the best. So
Okay.
yeah, and come to my website but LinkedIn or Instagram are probably the best.
Okay, awesome. And we
I'm
will
on
put
everything, but yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. We will put all of that information in the comment section. And I love the posts that you put out on LinkedIn. I've seen a lot of your posts are really well thought out and makes you think. So I really appreciate all the stuff that you're doing on LinkedIn. It's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
My goal this next year is get in front of the camera more. So
Well, we're just getting you started.
I know, right?
All right, Ronalyn. Well, thank you so much for being here today on our show and telling everybody about pets and profits. Sorry. And look forward to seeing you in person at some point soon.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.